panel for our next plenary session 13. The session will talk about driving destination investment and finance, and our speakers will be Sandrine, Friscia, EIB representative Bosnia and Herzegovina, Montenegro, European Investment Bank. Matko, Marohnic, project manager, head of tourism advisory, Horwath HTL. Nina Pobric, head of the investment promotion department, Foreign Investment Promotion Agency. And Mirza Karic, executive manager at Dubos Consulting. Once again, let's welcome back our moderator for this session, Ian Taylor, executive editor, Travel Weekly.
Thank you. This session complements the last one before the coffee break, but with a focus now on Bosnia and Herzegovina more exclusively. I've been separated off from the others here, I think because of the way the microphones are wired up and not because I'm unpopular, but let's see how the discussion goes. Sandrine, if I can start with you, could you just briefly explain the role of the European Investment Bank and its activity in Bosnia-Herzegovina and the region?
Sure, thank you very much. First, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It's a really pleasure to be here in this panel today. And I'm really happy to inform you about the role of the bank in the region, in the world, and particularly in Bosnia. So the European Investment Bank is the lending arm of the European Union. We are the largest multilateral lender and in the world, actually, and the biggest climate financing bank. We are shareholders of the 27 EU member states, and we work hand in hand with the EU delegations on the ground. We are policy taker. We are aligning our business objective with the EU policy, and yes, exactly. We work in this regard very closely with the EU delegation, as I mentioned before. So all the EIB projects need to be implemented in conformity with the EU practices, even before the accession that is going on at the moment. For example, each implementing entity is required to conform to EU social and environmental standards, ensuring that environmental, climate, social, and human rights are considered in every project. In the Western Balkans, we have unlocked over 10 billion euros in the region since 2010 to support the modernization of infrastructure, but also improve living standards of the citizens of the region. In Bosnia and Herzegovina, we have financed close to 3.5 billion euros so far. So we started working in Bosnia in 1977, actually. And so far we financed 3.5 billion euros.
Sandrine, sorry to interrupt you, but it would be useful to know the more recent investments and anything specifically to do with tourism and hospitality.
Actually, in terms of tourism, we do not finance directly project. I would say it's more through local bank, actually. We finance SMEs through local banks, but indirectly we are financing big infrastructure projects like the Corridor 5C, the motorway, the big motorway coming from the north of the country to the south, linking Croatia to Croatia, actually. We are also working on the railways project, road rehabilitation, and I believe all these projects help for the development of tourism in the country.
Okay, so the Corridor 5C, north to south, is probably the most significant single project, is it? Big infrastructure projects, but also you can facilitate loans for smaller businesses as well, which is important.
Yeah. Yes, indeed, because the minimum amount of financing for EIB is 20 million euros. For project of total cost of 40 million euros, we finance only up to 50% of the cost of the project.
Okay. I want to come back to the question of larger investment projects in a minute, but you work mainly through the state
Yes.
then. Is that straightforward in Bosnia-Herzegovina, given the political situation? Does that affect the way you work?
Yeah, it's good that you mentioned this because actually the bank, except for the local bank with whom we are working, but for infrastructure project, we lend directly to the state, which then on lends to the entities and then on lend to the public company of the canton, I mean, whoever we are working with. So this means that because our project, our loans are supranational, has to be approved by the council minister, has to be approved by the presidency, and then for us to be able to disburse has to be ratified. So you can imagine that from the moment we start the project until the moment we can disburse the money, it can be something like 1.5 years.
Okay, so the process of approvals is a challenge and brings delay. Matko, if I can come to you, we heard about Horwath in the last session, so you have a broad view of the overview of the region. What are the priorities for attracting investment here, would you say?
Well, not only here in Bosnia and Herzegovina, it's much of a broader story, as it always is. For us, from our point of view, the first and zero priority is the strategic vision and knowing what's coming in the next 10 to 15, 20 years, and having a clear picture on the government side, what are the priorities for the investment. For instance, we were part of all major projects, strategic projects in Croatia, in Montenegro. We are currently working in the national tourism strategy of Republic of Albania, not to mention Serbia and so on. And actually, what we always come back to is setting the scene, you know, like setting the clear platform for all stakeholders to know who does what. And only in that situation you can count on having some clear investment ability to be proactive, to define which projects we need, what will bring the best benefit to the local communities, to local business community, and so on and so on. But for me, the first priority is the system and clarity of what is going to happen next.
Okay, and do you see clarity of vision, a clear strategy?
If you ask me about Bosnia and Herzegovina,
yes.
Well, recently, no. Until recently, no. We hope that even this project, USAID's project, will bring some benefits and will advance the situation here. But market is very honest. You can see everything from the investment pipelines, interest from the business sector, and everything that is going on. So, for sure, resource base is strong. It's very attractive. Bosnia and Herzegovina has amazing experiences in tourism sense. If we are talking, I don't think that there are so many hidden gems across this region, but some things have to unlock first in order to happen.
Okay. What needs to unlock, briefly?
If I come back, as I said before, system, you know, kind of handling everything logically, approaching as it goes in a chain, you know, we first have to define who we are, what do we want, which direction we are going,
right,
and so on and so on.
Okay. Nina, can I come to you? Can you just explain what FPIA does?
Thank you. Actually, Foreign Investment Promotion Agency is a leading governmental organization responsible for promotion and attraction of foreign direct investment, and we provide different services to...
I think you might need to move the microphone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We provide different services to the potential investors, including information about business environment, tax system, available investment projects, organize site visits and meetings with the relevant authorities, and also we provide the aftercare support. We actually established a collaborative network for post-investment support as a mechanism to tackle open issues affecting already established foreign businesses in Bosnia-Herzegovina, and this network consists of representatives of different institutions at different level of the governments in order to, let's say, to encourage them to further develop their business activities in Bosnia-Herzegovina. Briefly, that's what we actually are dealing with, not just for tourism, including other attractive sectors like metal processing, car component, ICT, wood processing, and other sectors.
Okay, and would you agree with Sandrine that the time it takes to gain approval for projects is a problem?
Yes, definitely, because according to our experience, the complex regulatory legal environment is one of the major problems for the investors, but there are institutions like FIPA who actually provide information and guide investors through all of these processes, especially in some specific sector like tourism is, like energy is, so I agree. And we're all aware that FDI is very sensitive to political strains and peace in society, economic stability, and lack of one of them not only drives the FDI, but also has a negative effect on the country image and national branding. So we are actually trying to, let's say, according to FIPA, we all know that due to its recognized benefits, the most countries today, regardless of their level of development, compete for and dedicate significant resources to attracting foreign direct investment. A problem with Bosnia-Herzegovina that we do not have so much, let's say, financial resources to systematically promote the country and investment opportunities. That's the major problem, and that's the also problem regarding the image building.
Okay, and is there internal competition for the limited resources you have?
It is, but I will not say that is a competition. For us, it is important if every local community, every entity, every canton promote themselves, right, because it's part of the Bosnia-Herzegovina. But what is missing is actually some systematic approach that we together under one umbrella, working together on promotion of the country. Because at the end, everyone will invest in Bosnia. It doesn't matter is it in one entity or another. So that means that we need to do all these activities together, systematically under one umbrella.
Okay, so there's a lack of a systemic approach and a lack of strategic vision, as Matko says?
That's the actually, it is regarding the political instability. There are no willingness to work on the state level together. That's the major problem. We have entity strategies for tourism. USAID Project Tourism actually support the entities ministries to create tourism development strategies, and they are currently working on the, let's say, creation of implementation and harmonization plan for both entities. But I think it will be, let's say, much easier for all of us, will be more effective if we create some state FDI strategy or tourism development strategies, including other attractive sectors, not just tourism, because we do not have a state FDI strategy.
Okay, let's come back to that point in a minute. Mirza, can I come to you? Just, I want to address a couple of these points that have come up already to you,
Sure,
but just to quickly explain what Duplos Consulting does.
Well, thank you first for having me here. Dubos is a project management and business development company that was established back in 2008. Obviously, we have years of experience in providing project management and business development services, technical assistance to many projects in the country and in the region. We have quite highly motivated and competent staff that can provide support to any complex projects here and in the region. We also have a network of international consultants and experts to be assigned, that allows us actually to assign them, to assign the most appropriate people to projects that we have in our pipeline. So far, for the last 16 years, we've had clients from the States, Norway, Middle East, all across Europe, and some of the projects actually we've implemented in this period were recognized as the best investment and the best development projects in the country by FIPA, and also by the Foreign Investment Council, by Sanja, that took part in the panel before us.
Yeah, okay. Nina just made the point that there's no willingness at a state level to work on foreign direct investment. Is that what you see?
Well, actually, it's true. I would say that everybody, what they said is entirely true. So somebody asked a colleague in the previous panel about, like, should the private sector take over the initiative and do the promotion and the development, because we are lacking that state platform or the governmental platform to promote the country and to promote the investment in general. So I think that private sector here in Bosnia, in the region and globally, is always the initiator. We always initiate something. What is the issue here is time, of course. Like, we've been independent for the last 30 years. And that's not sufficient time to create a sustainable platform for like further development. Yes, we did develop something. Yes, the government did something. Are we satisfied with what they already did? No, we are not satisfied with what they did. But honestly, if everybody joins forces and we join forces together, that we do on many projects we cooperated so far, I think that the whole country and all the business subjects will be more successful.
But you say there hasn't been sufficient time yet, and that's a good point, but Albania has had no more time than Bosnia-Herzegovina. Croatia has had no more time. So it doesn't wholly explain the difference in level of investment and development.
I can explain.
Yeah.
I can explain. The political instability, the very strange constitution that we have in the country, with people that are not capable of performing their delivering the best services from the positions that they hold, is one of the major obstacles actually that we have in the country. That's something they don't have in Albania. That's something they don't have in Croatia. They don't have in France, where my colleague comes from. That's what the States doesn't have, UK doesn't have. So it's an objective. Honestly, it's an objective. Yeah. It's an objective obstacle. Me being how to say, like an investor myself, and also like running a project management company, it would be easy for me to say like nothing's good, the government is bad, like they don't do things well. If they do their things better, like we would be better. But honestly, that's not true. It's also my responsibility to do things properly. Also, it's the investors, foreign investors' responsibility actually to cooperate with the best on the market here. So I think it's not so bad.
Okay, I wouldn't hold out the UK as an example of political coherence, but not at the moment anyway. Nina,
I just
you wanted
want to add, beside of what is actually we mentioned, according to the Our Aftercare program, we visited more than 600 companies with foreign capital operating in Bosnia-Herzegovina. What needs to be emphasized that more of 90% of them are satisfied with their business results, and more than 65% of them actually have announced new reinvestments. And that the message that we need to to spread abroad, that existing investors are satisfied with their profitability. Of course, in other hand, we need to improve business environment, but they are satisfied. That's what we need to use for our promotional activities, beside all these problems that we mentioned.
Okay, so there are political obstacles, but you can still work despite some of those, not because of them. Sandrine, you raised some other issues when we spoke before the panel session. Land ownership is a real issue, you said. Can you just explain and how that could be resolved?
Yeah, as I was saying, we are working on big infrastructure project. Rehabilitation is not really an issue, but when you have to build a new infrastructure, you have the promoter has to deal with the expropriation, and so for this need to have a proper documentation on the ownership of the land, which is not always the case, and this is really difficult because it really delays the project, not without talking about any complaint that we could have, and also people who don't want to leave. I mean, okay, this is normal, but we have this documentation that the promoter has to fulfill, and we do not provide money as long as there are any difficulty on the ground. But it's true that the project can be very much delayed because of this.
So that causes delays. You also said that the roads are an issue. I mean, I know you've got this big project of Corridor 5C, but the roads generally are an issue, and people have talked about road trips and so on previously in the summit. The state of the roads is a concern for people. Yes,
we have been working on the road rehabilitation project in Federation, which just finished last year. Actually, maybe you have already taken this road in Stolac, which people were very much happy it was part of the project. And I think this is very, very important, in addition to the Corridor 5C, of course, but because this, I mean, we all know in Bosnia it's a really wonderful country, and I'm really looking forward every weekend to go to go somewhere else to visit the country, but sometimes I'm a bit frightened to go on some of the roads. So I think it could be an obstacle to tourism on my side. Fortunately, we have this corridor 5C, which should be completed by 2030, hopefully, and then it will also improve the condition of tourism, I guess.
Okay, good, and that will be completed by
2030.
2030, yeah. Okay, Matko, you've said previously there's rather a negative image among investors of the country. Why is that?
Well, it's all together. Everything we talk about, it sums up to something that makes that perception. But as we spoke before, that perception can change, and it can change quickly with some projects, big-scale projects happening, even small-scale projects happening. That can be changed for sure. We are coming back to the political situation, everything. We don't have to repeat that part in that situation. But for instance, what we see on the market is that the most successful destinations or states that have the investments that benefit the most the sector, tourism sector, is the one that is jointly hand-in-hand developed with investors. So there is a struggle always. Investor wants to bring his money back as soon as possible. That interest doesn't always correspond with the general interest, with public interest. So we have to all be smart and secure all hands, and in order to bring the benefit. I will just mention one anecdote, coming back to all these, big-scale projects and everything happening on a large infrastructure development, roads, marinas, ports. Of course, that is something that has to happen. But we were doing one project in Albania, for south of Albania, some 5 or 6 years ago, and we were talking with one of the leading DMCs that is doing this hiking of 10 to 15 days in the mountains, and has a market from New Zealand, the US, Canada. It's amazing product, and they do snowshoeing, walking all over the place. And when we asked him, okay, what would be your wish, what would you push if you were in a situation to develop, to do? And his answer was actually nothing. Nothing. Don't touch mountains. Don't touch anything. They are perfect as they are, because from his perspective, he doesn't need any strong, damaging investment that will make the landscape change, that will make the climate change, and everything like that. He's happy as it is. But that comes back to my previous point. If you have a system of DMO or of someone that talks with that people, that doesn't have to be only hard infrastructure, that can work with them on capacity building, on upgrading their capacities, you can do a lot. You can do a lot. And this kind of lessons learned from the field trips, they're so valuable for us that you must take everything into consideration, and the importance of MSMEs or one-man bands or these guys and these experts. They are self-learned experts. They know what is going best in the market. We should actually always listen to them and take their advice into consideration.
Okay, Mirza, can I come back to you? You've said when we were chatting beforehand that the major challenge is not money, lack of money, and it's not lack of technical expertise. So what's the major challenge in your view?
Well, the major challenge in my view and from our experience is definitely that local people still and local investors still don't believe in tourism. What's the reason? It's the news and political instability and the presentations that they see every day. For example, yesterday I saw one presentation talking about airports performance in the region, and the way how the data was compared was honestly not right. But somebody's going to base their opinion about our country and is going to base their investments on those data. And they will think that everything is terrible in this region, not only here in Bosnia, which is honestly not true. So local investors don't need additional fundings. They need more trust, because they don't understand when they make investments. They usually compare investment into hospitality and into hospitality. They usually compare it with trading. So the frequency of the money in trading is very fast, it's very quick. Whereas when you invest into hospitality, then ROI is like 16, 17, 18 years. But what they don't understand, like from that simple equation, is that that the real estate, the property value after 15, 16, 17 years is going to double, or is going to be 3 times more value than it was like 15, 16, 17 years before. On top of it, like when you invest into hospitality, usually you create a meeting point in the area. Usually you create facilities that are going to be easily recognized and utilized by the entire community, not only international tourists and regional tourists that will come and use those facilities. So like when they understand that, that investing into hospitality industry will bring them long-term benefits, then definitely everything's going to change. Currently, or at least at this moment, we have our major investors into hospitality sector are coming from the Middle East, because I think they are more brave than us, and they see what we don't see. We don't see investors coming from the West, which is terrible for me, and I expect this conference and USAID to follow up on this conference, and like after 3 or 6 months after this conference, to introduce at least 2 or 3 major investment funds from the States that invest into hospitality to support the preachment that we've had for the last 15, 16, 20 years. And that's the way how we can cooperate together. So like funds are not so missing or lacking. Expertise is not missing, it's not lacking. Trust is the thing actually that's missing. So if everybody starts promoting successful projects, what Nina already said, they have 600 successful projects, then it means that our local investors will start and giving and investing their own money into hospitality or any other sector that may be of their interest.
So Matko, you're nodding your head. You see trust as lacking.
I actually agree with the point that we have to focus on success stories, and learn the best from it. Not only focus on these challenges and this is not good, this is not good. Of course, there will always be some negative things and challenges on the market, but it's not true that everything is bad.
Yes.
I think that's the point. I agree with you the most.
Nina, do you see trust as an issue?
Regarding from our point
Yes.
of view, let's say maybe for us, we think that we could improve and attract more investment in tourism sector by improving knowledge of the project owners, how to prepare the projects, especially regarding the feasibility studies, financial aspects of the project. That is important. Second thing, we in our database have a project, PPP projects for construction of the spa tourism resource, upgrading of the existing one, commercialization of natural park, cultural heritage, and the lack of the experience and knowledge regarding the PPP is it also important. But luckily, a few days ago, one USAID project actually presented the white book for PPP. They are currently working with several municipalities and cities how to create PPP project, technical and financial aspects, current legal environment, what should be changed. And they started with some small PPP project, but I hope so that in the future there will be, let's say, interest for the more PPP project, and that's mean more attraction of the investors in tourism sector of Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Okay, Sandrine, you wanted to
Yes,
come in?
very quick. I just wanted to confirm what Nina was saying as regard the investors. I mean, we have many private investors approaching EIB for example project in the renewable energy, which is kind of fashion thing now. But the problem, most of them, they arrive with whether very old studies or no studies at all. So they are willing to join the market, but they don't have the right documentation. Of course,
They can always come to us.
Yes.
Yeah, so you need to develop expertise
Yes.
in that area. Just to clarify something, the EIB, does it just work with the state and facilitating investment from local investors, banks, and so on, or would it work with Middle East investors, for example? Or
Yes, I mean, as long as the project is eligible for EIB, we work with them. But we are willing to work with private sector here. Of course, the only problem is that it has to be big project.
Yeah.
And has to be, I mean, in terms of rating, has to be like minimum rating.
So you work in partnership as well. Okay, we mentioned success stories. Let's quickly just talk about some success stories. Maybe if each of you have got one. Mirza, you pointed to Sarajevo Airport. So it was suggested yesterday that Sarajevo Airport isn't a success story, but you have a different view.
Actually, I do have a different view because like the capacity of Sarajevo Airport is 1 million passengers and they facilitate 1.2 million passengers. In Belgrade, it's I think 5-6 million passengers capacity and they facilitate 3.6 million. So who's performing better? So it's difficult to compare from the perspective of number of passengers or something else. I come from that industry, so I understand that the numbers that were presented and how to say, like interpreted, were not interpreted in the right way. But that's something else. If we talk about success, for example, it's very important that when investors think about like investing into the country, into Bosnia and Herzegovina, they find reliable partners with proven expertise in the country. Typically, what we see with people coming from the Middle East, they find people somewhere like in the streets, in coffee bars and so on. They start the projects without like checking and reviewing who they are, what they did, and what kind of expertise they have, and typically they fail. We've never failed so far. Our projects are like really successful, all of them, and having good cooperation with everybody here, including people from USAID, my colleague that I see here, also like Nina from FIPA, and almost everybody here in the audience, we know each other, is a proven record of like when we put what I already said, like put and join all the forces together, like success is guaranteed.
Okay, I can see you all nodding that the investors need the right partners. I'm assuming that FPAI, the EIB, Horwath, as well as Dubos would be able to advise investors on good partners. Matko, a success story.
I just wanted to reflect on Mirza's. It's getting better slowly by slowly, but you still have investors that always ask us, why do we have to have this best use concept? Why do you have to program? You're taking my money away and stuff like that, but they're doing mostly passion projects. And if they're not approved or verified or vetted, or how can I call it, most usually they fall apart very quickly. And having partners on the project is crucial, it's essential. You cannot do it because also in this entire region, there are a lot of people having some funds to invest into tourism hospitality, which are not originally tourism hospitality experts, which is the probably most usual story as it goes. And everybody knows the best. We are known for our ego, our brains. Oh, I know to do better than you, you know, like. But it's slowly getting better. As for the success story, if you ask me, we were doing one project in Trebinje. I think that most of people here will know what I'm talking about now. It's a Herzeg House story, a brand of local agricultural products and kind of going through the entire supply chain from the field to packing, to producing, to increasing the quality of the product, and in the end distribution. What actually happened that local government or municipality realized that villages are empty, there is no one, some know-how is getting away, it's already abroad, and how can we help them? And they actually provided some infrastructure, know-how, capacity, and actually that is something that we are seeing in much more advanced countries in Western Europe that are doing, you know, like bottom-up approach, working with people that know this kind of ancient knowledge, so know how to produce something. It's ancient already, maybe for me, but maybe for someone else it's not. But it will have to happen in that kind of supporting way from the public sector.
Okay. We could. I'm assuming you could come up with some more success stories, and we'll take Corridor 5C as one. But we're running out of time. So, final question to each of you, and maybe start with you, Sandrine. What's the key priority or key priorities would you say to attract more investment and finance?
I mean, as I said at the beginning, I mean, EIB is really I mean, the business of EIB is to follow the objectives of the European Union. So meaning that we are looking forward to financing a green transition. We are already working on several wind farm projects and also on the just transition for the closure of the mine, which is difficult, but I mean, it has to be done at one point. And of course, we are the priority is also to support the promoters' counterpart in order to, in the management of the project. But this is a difficult part, but it's essential that they know how to do, and they don't need the banks to do further projects.
Okay, so the green transition is a priority for you and
Yes.
in financing projects. Nina, what would you say are the priorities?
Actually, for maybe just one conclusion, for us it's important to continue to improve business environment, to simplify procedures for the investors, and let's say to proactively promote opportunities. All relevant institutions at different level of the government. That's what is important.
Oh.
To let's say, to inform the others there are very profitable possibilities here in the Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Okay, so promotion of the
Promotion.
opportunities. Matko.
Apart from high-level strategic answers before system or stuff like that, let's be operational. We have to structure bankable or feasible projects that make sense from the market perspective, and then they will happen. We have to remove all the constraints that make these investments not happening now at the time, and let's hold it on that. It would be a great first step.
Okay, Mirza, the final word to you. What's the priority? But also, can you see all the constraints being removed? That seems a big ask to me.
Thank you very much. Nothing comes overnight. Definitely, we have to tell the truth and promote the positive success, positive stories and the success we already have.
Okay, please thank Matko, Sandrine, Nina, and Mirza.